Shalom, shalom. It's a perfect time. I'm sure you all heard about the Baba Sali, but I'm sure you also heard about his grandfather. That's who the famous Abu Chatzira family's name comes from. Abu Chatzira was Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzira, he's the father of the Abu Chatzira family, father of the dynasty. He wrote the famous Sefer Abir Yaakov. There's a lot of miracles that he performed. That's why they're called Abu Chatzira. You know the famous story. One time he wanted to travel somewhere, and the captain of the ship pulled off. Well, he left. He left without him. He had no problem. He took his hasir, his mat, and he just put it on the water. Sat on it. He was traveling on the sea. The captain of the ship sees this person is just sitting on the mat, just coming along with him. So he understood who he's dealing with. This is a holy person. He sent his sailors down to bring him with a lot of kavod. Since then, he was known as Abu Chatzira. Abu Chatzira, the father. Hasir is the mat that they had with them, to sit here and there. That was like their portable chair. And that's so they say one time Rabbi Yaakov Chatzira was in a different place for some mitzvah. And when he was done what he was doing, he wanted to go back. And so he sent his people to find out when's the next ship going to go towards Morocco. And they found out that this ship goes towards there once a month from this port to the port in Morocco where he'll be able to get home. So they came back. They said to him, this ship is only once a month. And when is it taking off? This Friday. This Friday, you're leaving. So the rabbi said, no problem. He didn't say anything. And when it was Friday, he was doing his normal things. He wasn't getting ready to get on a ship. They all realized that he's probably going to wait another month. So nobody packed anything, nothing. They had Shabbat, they spent Shabbat there and everything. Sunday morning, he told them, guys, start packing. We're leaving. They were afraid even to tell him anything. Rabbi, we told you they only do once a month, and that was on Friday. And they didn't say anything. They packed everything and they started going. They started going towards the port. And they get to the port. They see, there's people are moving about and everything. And they see there's a ship there. There's a ship in the port. And they get closer and they ask the sailors, what's going on? He says, we have no idea. Friday, everything was ready. We were ready to go. The ship wouldn't budge. It wouldn't move. And we've been trying for the past 2 days to get the ship going. And nothing is happening. Whatever we tried, we can't get it go. So Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzira called the captain, and they brought him. He says, try again. And when they explained to him who this person was, they went and and the ship was ready to go. And they all loaded and they went. This is how they went. Zachuto yeh magen alenu. No joke. This is Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzira. It's known. Abir Yaakov, a lot of things. It's each kadosh. Okay, Zachuto yeh magen alenu. Says Harav Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai. Everyone should know this is we have a lot of Yosefs in the Chachmei Sefara. Rabbi Yosef Karo, the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Chaim Palaji, also Rabbi Yosef, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. We have Rabbi Chida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai. Chaim Yosef Azulai, he wrote 83 Sefarim, 83 books, and he lived 83 years. He passed away in Italy, Livorno. Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu, Zichron Livracha, in 1980, went to Livorno and brought his remnants that were still intact back to Yerushalayim. And he's buried in Har HaMenochot, right there by the circle. You see him. When Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu, a couple of years ago, was niftar, they buried him next to Rav Chida. And he's a lot of amazing chacham, Rav Chida. He wrote in Kabbalah, he wrote on Chumash, he wrote on Halakha, you name it. So he writes, Erev Shabbat, right before Shabbat, is a dangerous time because that's the transition to Holy of Holy. Shabbat is Holy of Holy, and the moment of transition between this mundane world into the Holy of Holy, that's the time that the Satan tries his hardest to create strife and anger and pressure and everything. So he says a lot of times a fight erupts between husband and wife and at home, and the Yetzer Hara is trying really hard, he writes, to create this. So he says a person who is a Yireh Shamayim should fight his Yetzer Hara and not allow these things to come up, to pop up and create machloket. He says the best thing to do, be mevakesh shalom, this way you strike the Satan out of you. That's the time. That's really the time. And search for shalom. Do whatever you can. That's it. He says how beautiful it would be, how great it would be that a person prepares himself to accept the Shabbat with calmness, without pressure, without being in a bad mood. Chazal said that Kabbalat Shabbat. What do we say in Lachadudi? He says different places in the Gemara, in Masechet Shabbat, in different places. It says keyotze kachatan hayotze likrat kala, like a groom that goes to greet his kala, right, his bride. So what do you do? When the chatan is walking, you see him running to the chuppah. Oh my gosh, they have slow music and he's walking slow. Nowadays, I don't know, it's a lot of, you see a zoo, they're all dancing, I'm talking about a real kadosh wedding, nice, the chatan goes, very nicely, very good, with koved rosh, beautiful, everything is already ready, and with joy and comfort, to go to greet the Kala Shabbat. That's the way we should do it. We should try to do things with chokhmah, do it with wisdom from before, try to prepare everything, so that when it comes time, everybody, you know how it is, everybody's under pressure.
It's literally impossible.
They're going to change the time soon, this Moshe Shabbat. We're going to gain another hour. And somehow the Satan tries, but really, if a person plans it out, this is it. I'm telling you, the Chafetz Chaim said that a person should already prepare things from before. Prepare whatever you can from before. He said, we mentioned this before, remember? We said there was stories with the Chafetz Chaim that told these people, if they want Yeshuot, if they want Hashem to save them, they should already have the table set up by noontime. By noontime, or even Friday morning. It's a big zachut, we're showing that our anticipation for Shabbat, we're showing the importance that we have for Shabbat, and so on and so forth. So the person should budget their time. If they can't do it, they should try as much as we can to reduce that pressure on Erev Shabbat. Now, halachically, it's brought down. There's a list of things that a person shouldn't do on Shabbat afternoon. One is melechet keva. Melechet keva means a melacha, which would be set. That means he just does it daily, and it's a melacha. It should not be done on Erev Shabbat from the time of mincha ketana. Mincha ketana is, we have mincha gedola, and we have mincha ketana. Mincha gedola is after 6.5 hours of the day pass, let's say, on our totally average day, 6 o'clock is sunrise, 6 o'clock is sunset, 12 o'clock would be midday, half hour after that, 12:30, that is the time of mincha ketana. The 9th hour of the day, which is, say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, from there on, a person should not do melechet keva, a set melacha. Okay? And if one does so, he will not see beracha from this melacha. Okay?
I didn't understand what that was.
We're going to explain.
Oh.
Right? Melacha keva, that means he set himself up to do a certain melacha. He will set aside, he says, you know what, Friday afternoon, I got nothing better to do. So you know what, I'm going to go do some construction every Friday afternoon. set myself up, make some money too, do some construction Friday afternoon. That's the best. Or that's the time the guy is good. He's good with electronics. He's set up shop Friday afternoon to fix up cell phones. He makes a cell phone repair shop, and you understand? Melechet keva. I mean, he set it up that he will do this on Friday afternoon at that time. He does it every day, maybe, and he just continues on Fridays as well. This is asur. One shouldn't do that. You know, to set up after mincha ketana, that means 3 hours before sunset, you shouldn't be doing this. But anything that has to do with Shabbat, let's say they see one of the kids, the button has fallen. So, I can't do melacha, chas v'shalom, it's Friday afternoon, I can't do this. No, we could sew that button back on. Or you want to write a letter to someone, that's fine. Or an email. Someone comes and says, I hear you're selling, what's a good example? You sell cakes for Kavod Shabbat. No problem, you could do it, you could sell it. Whatever we need to do for Shabbat, that is allowed. Or, let's say, chas v'shalom, there is a short circuit. Friday afternoon, short circuit, you could call the electrician, Jewish from guy, say, hey, we have a short circuit and we're going to be in trouble. Or the plata, the electric hot plate, stop working. That's trouble. We could call in the Jewish person that we know that he could fix it and ask him to fix it for us. Is one allowed to get a haircut at that time?
Yes.
Yes, right. Even though it's a whole malacha, getting a haircut is like gozez, we mentioned, but for the kavod of Shabbat, even on Erev Shabbat afternoon is better. Mekubalim say that it's better to do this before chatzot, before midday. However, according to halacha, it could be done. Okay. Now, Masechet Baba Kama enumerates a bunch of different takanot that Ezra Sofer, when they entered during the era of the beginning of the second Beit HaMikdash, there were different takanot, different things that Ezra Sofer established. When they came back from Babylon to Eretz Yisrael, Ezra Sofer, he brought everybody from Galut, whoever was there, with him to rebuild the second Beit HaMikdash. And when they got to Eretz Yisrael, it was in shambles. The community was no community. The Goyim, they were very strong there. So they had to do a lot of cleanup. And they had to set up a new social setting then. That is the time that they made the Gezerah. If you remember, we mentioned about Muktzeh. That they said there Muktzeh, and also buying and selling is asur on Shabbat Midrabanan. We said, so that was then. One of the takanot that they made was Ezra Ubetino. They made a takana that people should do laundry on Thursday. It says in the Gemara, why? Why on Thursday? Shabbat. So the commentaries explain, why did they do that? Because if you don't make that gezerah, what's going to happen? People, they tend to push off things, and then suddenly comes Friday, we haven't done laundry, all our clothing are dirty, what are they going to do? And remember, back then, it was a whole day event. Doing laundry? Are you kidding? You gotta bring everything. Take everything next to the river, right? You put dirt on the clothing and you rub it on the clothing. This dirt goes into the clothing, mud or ashes goes into the clothing, and then they wash it, or they will bang it with a piece of wood, until all that dirt comes off. That dirt that got in will get the dirt that was in the clothing out. This is how it was. They had different stuff, some soaps, if you could call them soap, but they had different things. This is why, and that's why they didn't do laundry that much, because clothing was a rare commodity. It was very expensive, to make cloth. It was a whole thing, melechet oreg, to weave the clothing and everything, and then to sew it. That's why people only had one article of clothing. So, and they knew, when you wash it, and then after they wash it and everything, they would have to press it. They had 2 pieces of wood. They would screw these 2 woods one on top of the other, and this thing would be in between. It was a whole day's work, more than a day's work. even in Iran, not too long ago, maybe 50 years ago, before washing machines, what do you think it was? They used to bring the lady that would wash clothes. Oh my gosh, it was a whole day's work. They would sit and rub the clothes, like, they didn't have that much water. They would have to draw water from the things, and then they had a container with water, and they would wash it and everything, and hang everything. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine doing that on a Friday? You cannot prepare anything for Shabbat. That's why it says, Shabbat, because if you don't do it on Thursday, then on Friday you cannot do anything, right? That's it. Your Friday is shot. Ezra Sofer made a takana, do it on Thursday. Nowadays, we don't know these things. We have washing machines, and you don't have to. It doesn't take any time at all. It's funny. Sometimes people complain, "Oh, I did so many loads of laundry." I'm like, "Oh, I feel so bad for you." It's really a lot of work to put stuff in the washing machine, press a couple of buttons, and then take it out, throw it in the dryer. But really, halachically, therefore, it is mutar. One is allowed to do laundry on Friday afternoon, even the whole day. The whole day is not a isur to do these days.
And if it goes through because it's on a timer, it goes in,
We're going to get to that. We're moving closer. Right now, let's talk about Friday. We're going to talk about the second before Shabbat began. Yes, that would be allowed as well, right? You know what? Being that you mentioned it, we're going to move to that. One is allowed to start a melacha, that this melacha will continue into Shabbat. Okay? Prime examples that they bring is that they would open the water on Friday, that the water should irrigate the garden and the whatever we have. Like, you have trees and everything, you want to water them, then you just open the hose and the water will start running. You're not doing anything at all on Shabbat. All you're doing is turning the faucet on or the sprinkler on Friday, and the water will keep going, whatever it is. And will water the seeds and the trees and whatever it is on Shabbat. Because you're not doing anything on Shabbat, although you began this before Shabbat and it'll continue into Shabbat, the act of watering, and we mentioned before, way in the beginning, that watering plants on Shabbat is the melacha of anyone? Right, Zorea. Thank you. Right, watering the plants is the melacha of planting of Zorea. So that would be asur. But being that you started it before Shabbat, that is allowed. Same idea. You could put wheat into a water mill. Right? What's a water mill? It's there's water running, and these things are like cups. So that as the water runs, it goes into these cups and pushes this wheel, and the wheel starts turning, and that wheel in turn turns another wheel, which will grind the wheat. So he puts the wheat on there before Shabbat, and then the water automatically will come and turn this mill, and it'll grind the flour. That is also allowed. This is according to Shulchan Aruch. Ashkenazim say because this is avsha milta, because it makes noise, right? The whole grinding thing, like that, and people will think, oh, he's doing this on Shabbat. Therefore, they wouldn't allow this. But for Sephardim, it's not an issue. As long as you put it in from before Shabbat, it is good to go. Same idea. You could put, believe it or not, you could put a pot, right, over fire from Friday, and it stays there, even if it's not cooked, right? And it stays there on Shabbat, and it gets cooked on Shabbat. So really, it's as if you are starting something, you're doing something on Shabbat, but you're not, because you did this before Shabbat. You are allowed, but we should put a blech to cover the fire as a heker, to remember, so that you won't come on Shabbat and turn the fire up or down. Yeah? This is what we normally do. That's the reason why we put a blech, put a piece of metal over the fire, right? Preferably it'll cover the knobs as well, in order that we should remember, maybe my food is not going to get ready in time. Maybe it's going to get burnt. This, that. To remember not to touch the knobs, not to lower or make the fire higher, we use a blech as a reminder that we shouldn't do it. But otherwise, it's allowed. You're allowed to let the thing, even though it's not cooked at all, and it's going to get cooked on Shabbat, you're not doing anything on Shabbat, therefore it is allowed to do.
And you can eat it on Shabbat?
Well, of course. Why not?
So,
Yeah? Not cooked, right? You have cholent that's not cooked at all. You put everything into the pot and everything, and then you cover the fire, you put it there, and then Shalom Al Yisrael.
We were just discussing that. So do you have to line the inside of the crock pot with aluminum foil?
No. According to Obadiah, you don't have to.
How about covering the knobs?
Yes. You should have something that says Shabbat or something. Just put it there, it's fine. Or just a piece of aluminum foil. As long as you cover the knob, you're good to go. That would be the hecker. Yeah.
So then how come when we were discussing the rice cooker, Rabbi mentioned that it's better not to do that on Erev Shabbat?
Right. Back then, I think we asked the question. What was the question back then? We said you're gonna put. We said there's no light, right?
Oh no, there is a light.
That was the point. I think that was the problem.
But the light turns off automatically.
Yeah, it turns off.
And then it comes back on.
No,
No.
it doesn't. Once the timer finishes cooking, it turns off.
Oh, this is with the timer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rice cooker with a timer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. So then once the timer turns off,
The rice is
Once the
ready.
60 minutes are over, the light turns off.
and the whole thing shuts down
Yeah.
completely. There is no keep
nothing.
warm thing or
Well, not on the one that I have.
interesting. Then it'll depend. Let me see. What if this thing it's only halfway cooked before Shabbat when Shabbat begins?
Not cooked at all. You just turn it on after 60 minutes. It'll go through Shabbat.
So it's not cooked at all,
Yeah.
and it'll just cook. I don't see why not.
Yeah, I remember
I
why
think
we
back
said,
then-
we said it's better not to, but if you need to do it, it's
Interesting. I don't remember I have to look into that. I have to look in my other notebook what I wrote. If I remember correctly, I think. Oh, I didn't realize that there's a timer, and this timer shuts it off completely. That should be fine. But you know what? Let's look into it.
It's not considered Bishul Shabbat?
No, you did it before Shabbat. You're not doing anything on Shabbat, right?
So the problem with Bishul is only if it's not fully cooked. Completely, like let's say...
No, if it's cooked a little bit,
Right.
then we're afraid that you're going to be nervous and you're going to do something. It's Gezerah of Chachamim, Chachamim said. So now, once you have it covered, right, once you have the fire covered, then that takes care of this issue. Because it'll be a reminder, that, hey, what are you going to do? You can't do anything with it anyway. But still there's a Gezerah of Chachamim. If it's less than a third of the way cooked, then it's an issue. If it's more than a third of the way cooked, you're good to go. If it's less than that, if it's chai, if it's totally raw, then you're also good to go, right? These two cases, you're fine because there's a hesech hadat. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't think about, what's going to happen to my food? Is it going to be ready on time? It's not going to be ready on time because it's already a third of the way cooked. You are able to cook, to eat it. And if it's not cooked at all, then it's gone until tomorrow, so you're not going to touch it. So, and especially that we have it, the blech, usually, and if the fire is covered, it's a reminder that it is, there's something going on here. So we're not going to do anything, lower the fire, make it higher. We're not going to do any of that. Therefore, that would be allowed.
So the clothes in the dryer that get dried up, you're allowed to use them? If there's no light that turns on when you open the dryer door?
There's usually a light, isn't there?
There's none.
Really? Oh. That might be muktzeh because they're very wet at the moment Shabbat began. If it's not very wet, right? It could, if you have to, you would be able to wear it. We discussed. We said that according to Rabbi that would not render it muktzeh, right? But if it's very wet, like soaking wet, it's impossible to wear it at the time Shabbat began. So we said migudei ketzeh beven hashmashot. Being that it was muktzeh, the moment Shabbat began, it remains muktzeh. But if it's not that bad, and usually after a washing machine, they're not that wet. So that might be okay.
If the pot you just put it just before Shabbat and someone opens the lid, it's okay to put it back on?
No.
Or no?
No. Once they take the lid off, we said, remember, putting the lid back on and the food is not completely cooked, to put the lid back on, that you are helping it cook, right? Because it'll contain the heat and that'll promote the cooking, and that would be a problem, right? So that's why, you should not take the lid off unless you know for sure that this food is completely cooked. We said this before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the timer a little bit. Is one allowed to use a timer for Shabbat? Oh, on this, there is a lot of back and forth between poskim. Some poskim say it's absolutely asur to use a timer. Some say no, it's okay. Some say no, if you allow it, then you're going to do everything on a timer. That's it. No more Shabbat. Everything, like, set this on the timer, set this on the timer, set this on the timer. That's it. Set your TV on a timer, set your... Now, really, a person is allowed to set his timer. Let's start with an alarm. Right? He wants to set up an alarm to wake him up in the morning. So he is allowed to do it. Set it up before Shabbat, that to wake up, I don't know, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it is, that he should turn on, to wake him up, and therefore, and no problem, right? Also your cell phone, you set it up that it should ring at a certain alarm should ring at a certain hour, but then you have a problem, you can't turn it off, right? What are you going to do with it? You can't really move it so much because it's not sort of gufon komo. Moving it, it's here. You want to sit there, you don't want to sit there, you're sleeping. So to move it, it's not really tzorach gufon komo. We have a problem. The only thing you could do is you could put a couple of pillows on it, but then that might turn it off. So it becomes iffy, your cell phone. But an alarm clock, if it's not like, if it's one of those winding ones, like, if you could get to them in some museum, and you wind it, and then you set it up for tomorrow morning, those you could turn off, because you're not doing anything by turning it off. All you're doing is just, there's I don't know if you've ever seen one. It goes like this, and then you put something in between, and it stops. You're perfectly fine. Those are good. But if not, if it's the other type, those are not muktzeh. It's like a battery operated. You take it to your freezer. Right? Leave it in there. There's no noise is going to come out. You're good to go. Or put it somewhere else. Wake up your neighbors. As long as you don't wake up, that's fine. That's fine. One could do that. Use that, but if it's one of these alarm clocks that electronics or cell phone, that's an issue. You could set it up, no problem, but then just remember, everybody at home is going to hate your guts. So that's be ready for that. Now, the person wants to use a timer to turn the lights on or off on Shabbat. That means he'll set it up from before Shabbat. Some timers, Baruch Hashem, these days they come you could every 15 minutes you could turn the light on, and then 15 minutes later off, and then on, off, whatever you want, you could do that. It used to be back in the day, the old timers, you could only do it once. It just goes around. They didn't have that many options. Nowadays we could do it so much. So now, you could do it, condition, no, there's no condition. This we could do, and it's totally mutar. Okay? Set it up that you should turn the light off whenever you want, and then turn it back on whenever you want. According to Rabbi Vadia, no problem. Now, let's say you have a timer, and you have guests, and your guests came late, and you realize, oops, another half hour, our light is going to turn off. Can you extend the time of this timer that should go off another 2 hours?
Yes.
No.
For extending for it to stay on, you could do it.
Yes, you're right. But there's a condition. that whatever it is that you're moving there, the knobs or the pins, whatever it is, that at that moment the function of the clock doesn't stop. Some of them, when you pull the pin out, the clock stops. Then we have a problem, right? Because you're closing the circuitry of an electric circuitry, and that we can't do. You have to make sure, play with it from before Shabbat, and most of those, the pin ones or the ones that have its spring, you press it down, you move it. Those, nothing happens. But there are some of the fancier ones that yes, the function of the clock will stop and it's electric, and we have an issue. So we have to make sure that we don't have that. Then yes, you could keep the status quo. That means that if it's on, you could keep it on. But if you say, oh man, I would rather this light go off and get rid of my guests, right? Then we can't. We cannot bring it earlier. That's gram kibui, which is an issue on Shabbat. We cannot do that. But the same idea. Let's say the light is off, and you say, you know what? There's plenty of light, and we're not going to be home in the afternoon. So why should I let the light come on? I'll let it come on later. So can you push it on? Push it further? That the light should, instead of turning on at 12 noon, it should come on at 5 in the afternoon. Same thing you said. To keep it in the same status. If it's off, to keep it off for longer, that's fine. But if you wanted to turn on earlier, that we can't do. Okay? To keep it in the same status it is now, we could do to prolong it, that's fine. We could do that, no problem. But otherwise, if you wanted to turn on earlier or turn off earlier, that we can't do. To switch that, that we can't do. Did I miss? Okay. Now, but what if chas v'shalom there is someone sick, חולה שאין בו סכנה, right? There is chas v'shalom someone who's a חולה שאין בו סכנה. חולה שיש בו סכנה, we said there is no question, right? Chas v'shalom, if someone is in danger, it could be a life danger, it could be a danger of a limb. There we could, a person could could turn the light on and off himself, right? But if someone is chole, that means he's very ill, his whole body aches, can't move, but there is no sakana, there is no danger involved. In that case, and he really needs some sleep and this light is bothering him, we could go ahead and move the timer that it should turn the light off earlier. Okay? This is called gram. You're not directly turning the light off, you're causing it. You're creating a situation that now it'll turn off. Right? That a person could do in this case of chas v'shalom. There is someone who's very sick and needs to rest and needs to he needs to have the light off. That a person could do and bring it that he should turn off a few minutes early, whatever, an hour earlier, 2 hours earlier, so that the person could have rest. Yes. However, one should be careful not to bring it too close. If you bring it too close, because that might actually turn the light off, and you don't want to do that. If you're afraid that such a thing is going to happen, then we go back to what we said before. You could tell a goy that the goy will come and turn the light off. Right? Any questions on this? I just want to make sure we're clear on the Shabbat clock.
I have a question. Let's say you have your timer on, but you forget to actually push the keys. Let's say it's connected to like a whole row of keys. Are you allowed to? The lights are off. Are you allowed to turn them on?
You mean the switches?
Yeah.
I remember. That's a good question. I had this. Did I say this? That's a very good question. I remember saying that. remember, some say that the switches are muktzah, right? So when you press on it, you're moving something which is muktzah. So there is that issue to press them, even though there's no electricity there. Sometimes there is some electricity, a little minute amount of electricity, but you're doing it, you're closing the switch. I'm not so sure though what the end result was. I have to check into that. But that's as far as.
But her question was if you didn't put it to turn on at all.
No, you did. You have everything.
The timer's on, you just forgot to turn the switches on.
What do you mean turn the switch on?
Let's say that light switch.
To click it. To click the light on.
To turn it on?
Yeah.
Right. That happens. You're right. You have set up the timer, and then oops, or you have the AC, right? You work so hard, you set it up and everything. It's gonna turn on, and then you say, "Oh, I didn't turn the AC on. What do I do?" And the AC is totally off, right? Even if you do, no, then that doesn't work. With the AC, it doesn't work. You need to have it on, otherwise it won't turn on. All the new ACs. Otherwise, the old ones, there is a button that you press. It's like a switch, like an electric switch. And then yes, when the timer will get there, it'll turn on or off. But the newer ones, it won't work. That's a good question. I'm not sure. How that works, but we'll look into this. Back to the preparations before Shabbat. There's definitely a thing. Doesn't really relate to ladies, but maybe ladies could push their husbands to these huge, very important thing that people neglect. People don't realize how important it is to say the Torah, to read the parasha every week. Shnai mikra ve'echad targum. To read the parasha twice with targum, right? To read it, to say it patiently, to read it with the ta'amim, to read it correctly. The Gemara says, whoever does this, they'll be ma'arichin lo yamav u'shnotav. They'll have arichut yamim. And according to the Ari, the best time to do this is on Friday morning. If a person doesn't, Friday afternoon. Even if not, Friday night. And there's a lot of little details with this. Just if the ladies could push their husbands, that would be great. This is something extremely important, and people don't know. People don't know that it's halacha b'radan in Gemara Masechet Berachot, b'radan in Gemara Masechet Yuma. It's something very important. Not Yuma, I'm sorry, Rosh Hashanah. It's something extremely important that people should bear in mind. That this is it says kol hamashlim parashiyotav im hatzibur. Whoever completes his parashiyot with the tzibur, ma'arichin lo yamav u'shnotav. He'll have a long life, right? And even if a person says, no, I'm a Talmid Chacham, I don't have time for this, to read the parasha, come on, it's a waste of my time. There's no such a thing. This is something very important a person should do, so try to do it carefully, and Bezat Hashem, this is the one time that we could get, we have a guarantee of Beracha, Bezat Hashem.
Rabbi, back to the first thing you said,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question. If someone is at work,
Right.
then they should for sure leave 3 hours before.
Depends what's the nature of the work, right? If it's a melacha, yeah, for sure. But if it's something like, you're just sitting by the computer, sending emails or, transactions, these sort of things, they're not really melacha, to say, but definitely, that's that they don't see a beracha from it if they work there, But besides all that, obviously, of course, a person has to leave time that he should prepare. Even if he says, no, I'm all ready for Shabbat. I'm shaved, and I'm showered, and we have to leave time to prepare, mentally, and, a person should leave some time for himself, before Shabbat. For sure. It's not a good thing that a person will be busy with whatever work, it is going on. That's not a good thing. It's not a kavod of Shabbat. We have to think of that as a, kavod. All right? Thank you very much.